welcome everybody. Bell Wellness Experience Season 2, Episode 1. Got my guy Warren Martin. He's the owner of Sync Fitness and Movement. He's also a best-selling author, so I'm going to go ahead and bring him in so we can chop it up a little bit. Warren, what's good, man?
Hey, bud. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
All right. Awesome, man. Awesome. Have a good new
How's
year.
it going, man?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. Ready for 2022.
Can't complain, man.
Awesome.
Yes, sir. So I want to thank you, man, for joining me, taking time out of your schedule. So, yeah, man, welcome to the Bell Wellness Experience.
Awesome, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on here.
You know, usually when I bring people on, I always get started by adding a disclaimer. But since you own your own stuff, you know, I ain't really got to add that disclaimer because you ain't really got a boss to answer to.
Nope. Just myself.
Yeah, that's
and
the
the
way
wife,
to go.
of
Yeah,
course.
man. But I appreciate you joining me. So I want to start off, man, with something simple, man. How did you get started in the fitness business?
There we are. I started right out of college, pretty much. Not knowing what I'm going to do, didn't really know how everything worked, so I just started working at a gym. I was in the Marine Corps, so that's what got me into fitness. And started with a business degree and was like, no, I don't want to be in a suit. So I started working at a gym, man, and just my goal was always to be the best, whether it's cleaning machines or doing sales or, you know, I had a boss, of course, and I just wanted to impress and, you know, started there, man. I didn't really know where to go. I had no mentors. Back then it was the digital world wasn't here yet. So I got lucky. There's a guy from, I don't know if you know what Apex Fitness Group is. But that was a big thing back in the day. And then NASM and ASM. It was new back then. It was kind of the certification that no one wanted to get because the passing rate was so low. But I'm a kind of a challenge kind of person. So, but also at the same time, I'm a slow learner. So I have to repeat things a lot to learn. But so I would say in the fitness industry, I wasn't really a trainer at first. I was, but I was a student. I mean, again, I had no clue about anything. Luckily, my boss was big on sales. So I had to learn scripts and tours and I would have to say that's what pretty much gave me an advantage at the beginning is really understanding the sales part. It wasn't, you know, the personal training's fun and all that, but if you can't sell, you're not going to have any customers.
Yeah, exactly. You said you were in the Marines?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you go to the Marines straight out of high school?
Yeah. 3 days after graduation. And I did it not to make it a career. My dad died when I was a teenager, so it's kind of to get me away from anyone I knew, and set myself straight. You know, teenage kid, needed that, I guess, that push and wake up to reality. And, you know, that's why I went in that direction at the beginning.
Absolutely. And that's probably helped in your fitness career, learning that discipline early. Because I mean, there's people that's, you know, 40, 50 that still don't have the discipline to do any sort of business.
Yeah. And, you know, I think a lot of times, again, I think my circumstances kind of led me in the right direction. I think a lot of young crowds come in thinking they're going to save the world right off the bat, and they don't want to get their hands dirty, do the grunt work. And I use grunt because that's in the military. You start off as the grunt. You know, you're not at the top of the chain. You're doing push-ups for no reason a lot of times. But I think the grunt work's so important. like being in the trenches, cleaning machines, understanding how the business atmosphere works. Um, One way or another, you're going to have to go through that. Um, you're not going to start off at the top. I wish I could say there was a way, just not going to happen. You know,
Yeah.
but some people have to learn one way or another, you know. So, uh, but what got me into the entrepreneur world, I didn't know existed. I was in the generation brought up uh, uh, that you had to work for someone, and you work your way up the ladder, and you know, yada yada yada. Um, it's just the entrepreneur world's a whole different breed of people.
Hmm.
Um, you know, you got to embrace the failures and just keep on pushing forward, you know. But what got me to that point was I worked for a guy in a gym that wasn't the most pleasant, but I'm not the type to quit. I'm the type to try to prove someone wrong. And I just
Hmm.
started building so much leverage. And that's what I even tell my trainers that contract with me now is try to build your clientele leverage so huge that a gym has to have you. And
Yeah,
that's what I did.
that's
I
real.
was bringing in them more members than the salespeople could bring in. And so I had huge leverage, you know, at that point. Now, you could be unethical or ethical. I'm a big ethical guy and really big on, uh, um, you know, keeping your word and whatnot. So, but I build a leverage, and you know, in the fitness industry, egos are big. So when you build a business in a business, it doesn't go really well um, if that other owner has ego. So kind of pushed me to jump out. So, you know, I started in 2000, about 2005, 5 years into it. Then I started my own entrepreneur business. And it was like
Okay.
jumping off a cliff with wings and then building the wings on the way down. Um, I went from a salary to zero, like instantly when I made that decision. And the risk thing is so important if you're going to build a business. Being safe is you'll get nowhere. Um,
Hmm.
so you know that's one thing I did is I took that risk. You know, and the great thing about humans is survival mode kicks in, and
Oh yeah,
if you're
definitely.
trying to survive, you can't fail. Like you will find a way, and you know you're gonna have those hard times and whatnot. But I worked under gyms for a good, contracted in there for a good 10 years. You know,
Okay.
and then bunch of failures in trying to start my own business, and so happened I landed opening my own gym. You know, and then that was another leap. And I remember when I opened this gym, I remember at Kroger line, and I go to pay groceries, and I didn't have the balance in my account. You know, I had to put some groceries up. Embarrassing. You know, it's not glamour at the beginning. You know, it's a struggle. But the only way to be big is to go through the struggle. You know,
Absolutely.
I'm not, you know, I'm about to open another one here soon. So
Okay. Okay. Yeah, we'll definitely have to get into that. But I want to go back a little bit. You said, obviously you've been around for a while. How have things like changed over the years? Because you mentioned, digital wasn't really a thing back when you first got
yeah,
started. So
you know,
what are some things
and
that's changed over the years?
yeah, the biggest thing I would say is back then you're forced to actually learn what it takes to make it in a business. Now with social media, you could pretend. I would say 90% of the people on Instagram in the fitness world is it's all fake business. It's showing, you know, pictures with the cars and success. And man, honestly, if you saw my whole life on it, it's not glamorous. At the majority of it is a lot of struggle, a lot of learning. Um, so so you erase all the stuff that you could do through marketing on social media. And I suggest trainers do this, is the paper world and the tangible stuff, marketing, is lost right now. So imagine if you were the only trainer in your area that started making flyers, started making zip drives or whatever of uh, uh, so what I would do is I would burn CDs, and I would get labels, my logo, tape it on the CDs, make CD covers. On the CDs, I would put exercises on there. I'd have my business card, I would slide it in there, and I would make hundreds of them and pass it out. Um, no one does that anymore. They want to just open up a Facebook page or Instagram, and they don't really try to connect to people. And really,
Mhm.
fitness is about making connections. I mean, whether it's business or clients, it's that human to human connection, you know. Um, and I think the art of sales and how to get customers isn't really taught, you know. A lot of these companies that try to, hey, I'll get you clients, and they're doing it in a way that's not really educating new trainers or new people wanting to get
Mhm.
in the industry. Um, so, my biggest thing is uh, you have to learn how to build those relationships. You got to get people to like you first, right? To be able to um, want to spend money on you. So if you can't get to that point, you are going to struggle. It's going to be hard to get those clients. Right now I got about 70 clients. So um, so I'm in a different position on how I get clients than how you should at the beginning. Beginners try to do what people that have been in the industry for 10 years do, and it's just the wrong way going about it. It's just like when I train an athlete, a high schooler, I would not train. They don't need to do the same thing as a pro,
Mhm.
and that's what people tend to do. Oh, they're a pro, so, or their experience. I want to do what they do, but that's a whole different world of things.
Yeah, that's definitely for sure. And I noticed you have, like, I was trying to look at your accomplishments, and we ain't got time to go over all of them because it's a lot. But but I wanted, like, how has being like a fitness professional like helped you like get into other opportunities? Because I mean, you've written a book, you have your own podcast,
Yeah,
like you've done a lot. So would you contribute all of that stuff going back to the roots of being like a fitness professional?
yeah. So there is a story behind how I got into that. So the first few years of my career in it, um, I'm a big introvert. So there's a lot of things I've had to overcome to be in the public eye, because my confidence level in that stuff was really low. Like, I didn't think I knew enough. I wasn't worthy, I guess you could say, of my peers. Uh, so for the first 5 years, man, I dove into educating myself. Oh, there just went my camera. I don't know why that just happened. Hold on one sec.
You good?
There we go. I got it on this one of those gimbals or
Oh
whatever you
yeah,
call
yeah,
them.
yeah. I
Yeah,
got one of
yeah,
those too.
yeah. It just shut off on me. Um, but first 5 years, I was diving into educating about human movement and more of the stuff you can't learn in college. Um,
Mhm.
and then at one point, I was at a baseball game of my youngest or my oldest son now. Um, and I was listening to this guy about marketing and media, and how that's important to get into article writing and stuff like that. Well, dang it, I'm just gonna have to hold this. Um, but I never really knew much about marketing and writing articles because I never thought about it because I didn't think I was good enough. And to get into that, it costs money. Like, to get in a book, it's not free. Someone has to pay for it. Um, to do the public relations side of it, to get more eyes on it nationally, you have to pay people like that stuff doesn't go out nationally. Um, to kind of give an idea, for someone to be a bestseller, a New York bestseller, costs millions. So you don't become a New York bestseller by just writing. You that person either has to get someone famous put on there. That's why you always see those joint ones that has someone
Mm-hmm.
famous with a writer. The writer is the actual person writing. The famous person is the PR. So if you don't have that famous person, it costs millions of dollars just to make it to a New York bestseller. Um, so I didn't want to go that route. I didn't have millions to do that. But I was like, man, I need to get into writing. I have a lot of ideas in my head over the 5 years of learning and designing myself. Um, so I had to make a decision on investing in myself. And I would say that's one of the biggest things that entrepreneurs start backing away from, is like when you start talking about how much they have to spend to get into that. That's the first question, is how much is it? That should be the last question. Who cares how
Mm-hmm.
much it is if your return's 100%? You see what I'm saying? So I had to mentally get over that part, because I always thought, how much is it? I didn't ever look at what is my return on investment. Does that make sense? That's what matters in business. It's not how much you're spending on the
Absolutely.
front end. It's how much is that going to make you. So I had to get over that obstacle. And then once I got over that obstacle, I started investing. I went to masterminds. I started meeting people that were making 10 figures in the fitness industry. I had to uh, start looking at how much of my money that I made in a year could I put back into learning, not in books, but of meeting people, of writing articles, getting in on spots in magazines. How do I uh, do all that, and then how do I use that for my return on investment? Does that make sense?
Okay.
So I would say that is the biggest part. Is it's not the writing part. Is can you get past, like, if I'm going to dump $20,000 into the series of things that I'm going to do, that eventually over time will make me 100,000. So I didn't have $20,000, at that time. So then I started thinking, okay, how do I borrow it? Like, because, you know, so the my mentors, when I love them to death, I'm so glad they talked me into it, is you had to figure out ways to borrow it. Was it from some family, a loan? So at that point, I couldn't go, I'm going to wait a year. I had to make it happen then. Because if you let opportunities pass, they're past. And that's what you don't want to happen, is let those opportunities pass. And a lot of times it's about being prepared. So there's many things I do to learn, whether it's to learn or get involved in something that's not going to have a return immediately. It's going to open opportunities as they come over the next 5 years. And this gym is a good example. Is I did a lot of things to get me prepared. So once an investor heard and saw all the things I've done, they're willing to jump on board. Does that make sense? So they're I couldn't go, hey, wait a year and I'm going to do all these things now, and then I'm going to come back to you. It's too late at that point. So people call me lucky. They call me what they want. I was just prepared. I've been for 10
Yeah.
years
Yeah.
preparing myself for all the big opportunities later.
People never look at the struggle. They always look at it when somebody's at the top. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
what I hate about a lot about society. They never want to. They always want to demonize people once they make it, but they don't think about the 18, 20 years of the struggle and getting told no, and barely making
Yes.
it. They just want to look at, oh, this person has this or this person has that. You know what I mean? Like, and
Yes.
it's
Yes.
really a slap in the face to people that's busted their ass those years. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes. So, mine was overnight 20 years. It took me, I was about are you still, with the people that have been in it longer than me, that have been really successful, it takes about 15 to 25 years. They all have been through it. No one was, I mean, there's a couple. I mean, you got that small percentage. Um, but it's about 15 years minimum of really busting it and building and building and building big. Um, is 2 year, 5 year, 8 year, mainly uh, uh, the push should be really learning, developing. You still
Hmm.
there?
Absolutely. So now I want to get into to your actual gym, your actual facility. So Sync Fitness and Movement. I've been following you on social media for a couple years, a few years actually, and I remember right around the time you opened it. It was around like what 2014 or 15. Was that when you first opened?
2015. Yep,
2015. Okay.
2015. Yeah.
How did you come up with the idea of not just the name Sync Fitness and Movement, but the entire concept? Because I've heard you refer to yourself and some of your other trainers as movement specialists, and I mean, I think that's cool because I
Hmm.
mean, it's a lot. It would have been easy for you just to say Warren's Gym or Warren's Fitness Center,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I mean, the whole
Yes.
concept of
Yeah.
Sync Fitness and Movement is pretty neat to me. So, how did you come up with that?
Yeah. Um, as I in my career is learning as a coach, I started figuring out that athleticism is the commonality of everyone's goals, whether you're not an athlete or you're an athlete. So movement was huge. So what I would do, um, when I would have a client in the earlier days that would quit, I wouldn't just let them quit. I would call them and find out why. Like, uh, you know, and what I found a lot of times it was their motivation, but there were some underlying causes of loss of motivation. So it was their belief that they couldn't get any better, or they were hurt. They hurt. And when they would take off, they would feel better. Um, so that's when I started getting into human movement. And I started surrounding myself with coaches in the athlete world that was big on that. That you didn't see in the mainstream because they didn't care about being known. It's
Mhm.
not the importance, um, and that's where the syncing of fitness and movement comes in. So I always, that's kind of one of my thing is, yeah, I want people to be fit, but I want their movement patterns to be crisp. So it's going to keep them with me longer. If they try to leave me, they're going to start hurting again. So longevity, um, and uh, the sync part, my wife helped me out with that. So um, she she came up with the word sync, because she saw me. She was with me from day one, and uh, uh, she saw that that's how I kind of thought about things, and then the gym, the layout was important to me. So through all those years and being in other gyms, I knew all the complaints from customers, the things that really mattered to people, and that's where I came out with a layout. Um, Cleanliness is important. Clean lines, the way it looked, the way you feel when you go in the gym. Um, and then the smoothness of your workouts, of zoning everything in the right place so you could actually get a fluid workout and not be crowded. Um, and that's where I came out with the whole concept is I didn't know it was going to work. It was one of those things where I was just going off of what I've experienced, saw. Um, and I think too many people with gyms get too much into the type of equipment, like this is Icarian or this is Rogue, or I got more into what is the functionality of the exercise, what ones weren't really good exercise, and I got rid of that kind of stuff. I didn't care about getting the gym member that cared about whether there's that type of equipment. If I saw that it actually hurt people, I didn't want it in my gym. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, the what I knew would happen is the people that would come in, it would funnel them towards the right exercises without me having to be there. So as a gym, they don't really realize that why do I feel like I get a better exercise at this gym than at another gym? It's because of the flow. They're forced to use exercise and certain equipment that actually makes them more athletic without me actually having to coach them through it. So that was important. How do I get members to have a good experience? And they can't put their finger on it. Like, there's just something about it. I don't know. And so I knew I nailed it whenever I started getting people that travel, going to other places, going to other gyms, and they'd come back and they were like, Warren, you've spoiled me. Like, this gym is like, I see why I love this gym because they go to all these, whether it's big gyms or big corporate gyms or just other areas. And so I was like, okay, I'm on to something. Same thing with my training style. I knew I was on to something whenever I was keeping clients for 10 years, on a big scale. It wasn't just like one or two people. I was like, man,
Yeah.
I know I got to be, again, that then my insecurities would try to say, no, you don't really know what you're talking about, Warren. So that would force me to really dig in more of the research and what's going on. So, and I'm a big believer, you're the sum of the 5 top people you follow and really soak in. Um, and so I think I got that net now of, of people that are really legit on the up and up in the fitness world. I don't make all this up. And that's the thing too is um, no one creates all this. This is a manifestation of years of learning, failures,
Mm-hmm.
getting rid of the failures, making adjustments. To this day, I still adjust things. I'm not a know-it-all. I, I'm not going to stay and think what I believe right now is what I should believe in a year. you know so that's where the ego, you have to drop the ego and go, man, I've been
Mm-hmm.
doing this style a little bit wrong, let's modify it, make it better. And that's what I do through all my programs, my business, my life, relationships, all those things, my own fitness. Those have to evolve. You cannot think I got it set, at the best it can be, I'm the best husband that could ever be. No, I'm the best person to my friends. And no, you're always evolving. And you got to have that mindset. uh, just like this
Man,
device I
I
got
tell
here.
you what, man. One of my frat brothers actually works with you, Dre Zeno.
Oh yeah,
He works with
yeah,
you.
yeah,
And
yeah.
he told me, he was like, man, Warren is a walking encyclopedia. Man, he's true. You are.
Like I said, that internal, like in my earlier days, man. I knew I wasn't I was horrible in school. Like I'm a professional C student, and and I know I'm horrible at retaining things, especially if I'm not interested. So I'm super interested in fitness, and but I have to learn. I have to really look at things and read it again.
Mhm.
But when I do that, it just really sticks in my mind, you know. And I think that's what a lot of people do too.
Abs-
Is it's not good enough to learn something and then forget about it. Like in
Yeah.
fitness, you have to really dive deep, like the layers of things, of understanding all those layers. And it takes a long time to learn it. But once you learn it and you learn the foundation, then you can build more and more and more and more knowledge. You know, I don't see knowledge as like, hey, I'm a kickboxer instructor now. Okay, you know, it's do you understand the science of kickboxing? That's what I'm interested in. Like, do you understand the science of a kick? Do you understand what muscles make a kick happen? Do you understand
Hmm.
what causes injury in kicks? Do you understand how to be the most efficient in a kick? You see what I'm saying? That's the level of stuff to learn. And then as a trainer, that branches to everything, you know, developing muscle to fat loss to then you get into the psyche of people, you know. I started a master's degree in exercise psychology, but I
Okay.
didn't finish it because I was like, okay, there's no return on investment on this because I'm
Yeah.
not going to do it. Um, but I was just interested in understanding some of it, you know, and that's why I did it. I didn't do it to get the degree. I just wanted to go through a lot of classes to learn it. I didn't care to flash a, hey, I have a master's degree or a PhD. That means nothing to me anymore. You know, the
Mhm.
knowledge is what matters, you know. So I think
Absolutely.
also people get too caught up in the letters, you know. How much of it do you know? That's what matters. Yeah.
Absolutely. So you mentioned earlier in the interview that you were uh working on opening another gym. Are you like franchising or what are you doing
Not
now?
sync. And it's I can't disclose everything yet. But yes, it's going to be a franchise. I'm developing a
Okay.
franchise. So
Okay. Awesome.
we're going through the beginning stages because my hope is, you know, I thought about franchising sync, but the startup cost is so high, dude. Like like when I say it breaks you, you're talking about at
Yeah.
minimum $500,000 in debt off the bat. So it's not practical for beginners. Like it's just I would never suggest someone to just open up. The reason I was successful is I already had a really good, sound personal training, successful business. That when I come in, I was able to cover it until the gym part built. That's why gyms fail so much. People go into it with nothing. You cannot do that. Like you need a groundwork before you start something bigger. Makes sense. So you wouldn't to start personal training, you wouldn't start opening a studio. You start in your
Yeah.
garage and then you build from there. It would be insane to rent, to pay utilities, pay employ. I mean, without any groundwork, so or foundation set. So I want to start a franchise that has a very low overhead for more towards the beginning stage, not beginners, but people, trainers, and coaches that have established but need that business model to have to take off running. So that's what I'm starting. So, um, but I will definitely let you know about it because I'm. That's one thing is I want that legacy business to be something that helps other entrepreneurs
Okay.
build the beginning stages of business. And then if they're successful there, then they have something to build up off of.
Yeah, that sounds awesome, man. This sounds like a dumb question because that's a lot to have going on. But what other things do you have planned for this year specifically?
Another business. So I got two. This one I could say more about. It's going to be more geared towards athletes.
Okay.
Uh, I see there's a need. Um, I don't like bragging. I don't like seeing downing anything.
Dude, brag. If you,
Well,
it's not bragging, it's
um,
true.
yeah,
It's just the truth.
I don't like downing other businesses too, but there's a huge disconnect between performance training and being legit. Um, it's easy to trick parents, and I see too much performance businesses, I guess, taking advantage of the natural development in youth already. So, for example, I could train some youth athletes, and in 2 years, of course, they're going to be better. They're older. If they go from 10 years old to 12 years old, of course, they're going to be better. Should I take the credit of that? No, no. So, I have the knowledge base of what actually increases their potential down the road. So, every kid has a ceiling. So I'm not worried about that natural development. I want to increase their ceiling for later. So I want to change a kid's chance of getting into a JUCO college, of not
Mhm.
being able to play sports in the JUCO college to be able to play, or a kid that would only be able to make it to the Division 3 school. Now they have a chance to be in Division 1, or a kid that
Okay.
would be able to be in Division 1, but now they have maybe a chance of being recruited professionally. Now I have record. I've trained professional athletes. I've gotten kids to levels their peak performance levels to now they're getting recruited by professional organizations. I got kids that would be third string in high school now first string. So it's all about raising that ceiling for them, and then that's where the lack of. So I want to implement that and then team up with coaches that teach skill. I'm not a skill coach. I don't teach how to swing a baseball bat or shoot a ball. I am all about increasing athleticism, you know. So I'm in the just very baby beginning stages of developing that.
Okay. Sounds good, man. So what's some advice
Yeah.
that you would give? You've given some really good pointers already, but what's some advice you would give to other fitness professionals in 2022? Because like you said, man, it's a lot of fake stuff on social media, and that's easy to get caught up in. So like what's some advice from a real somebody that's been through a lot of stuff? What's some advice you would give to other fitness pros?
All right. What I do when I coach other entrepreneurs is if you don't know where you want to go, where your end is, then how are you going to get there? Like, it's my biggest pet peeve when I ask that question. They're like, I don't know. Well, there's your first problem. Well, you don't even know where you want to get it, you know? And then once you find that out, reverse engineer. Like, you need to take, okay, where you want to be, and then start taking steps back to all the way into the where you're at. It's all reverse engineering. I didn't like hope I get to this point. It's all planned. Okay.
Mhm.
So I want to get to this point. I would say goal is to make an X amount. And then to make that X amount, how many hours am I willing to work a day in a week? And then to make that X amount, the amount of hours I work, how much do I have to charge? And then how much I have to charge, what kind of program am I looking at to develop to be able to charge that much? And then you back up even further, what do I need to know to be able to develop a program like that to charge that much to make that much. Does that make sense? So you have to
Absolutely.
backtrack because you can't get to that point. You're not just going to magically make $500,000 a year because you're a badass. There's a lot of badasses out there that make nothing, and there's a
A
lot
lot
of
of broke
fools out there
badasses.
making 500,000. You know, so the dummies that make 500,000 understood that they needed to reverse engineer and put things in place to make it possible. You know, and you have to do that. Now let's go all the way back to the beginning position. Is, do you even know your clientele? Who are you talking to when you market? If you have no clue, you're talking to no one then. If you're just spitting out stuff on social media and you have no clue who you're talking to, who's going to listen to you? Your
Yep.
friends and family, and that's it. No one else cares what you have to say because you're not talking to them. If your clientele is women, weight loss for women, and you talk about yourself, you're not going to get them. They care less about you. See what I'm saying? So you got to really focus and narrow your focus on who you're talking to when you're doing your marketing, when you're trying to get clientele. And then we'll go even to, what are you saying to them? If you don't have a strategy of laying out how you're talking to them, what you're saying, are you covering objections? This is where the sales part comes in. Sales isn't a bad thing. It's actually something that teaches you to understand your customer more. So when I
Mm-hmm.
talk to someone, I have a true understanding of them. And it comes, if I'm just talking to them thinking, oh, I just want to make a sale. I'm just trying to make money. You're not going to get anywhere. You have to have a
Yeah.
true, deep core want to help that person. Now, if you have that true core deep want to help that person, but you didn't take time to understand them or what it is you need to know about them, then that's a problem. You can't succeed if you don't understand those things. You know, what is it
Yeah, that's real.
that drives them to want to lose their stomach? Is it really because they want to wear a crop top? No, has nothing to do with that. The average person has underlying, it's, I call it their whys. Why do they want that? It's usually, I want to have self-confidence. Why do they want to have
Mm-hmm.
self-confidence? Because my spouse. See, it goes deeper. And once you start understanding those things, and then you design your programs to capitalize on that. And then your value, if someone says, you know, say you charge $300 an hour, why would someone say, no, I don't want to do that? Because they don't see the value in it. But if you design something to make it in their mind go, wow, that's worth $300, because that is spot on to what I need and is going to actually help me in my future, they will go and sell all their shoes to pay you that $300. There's not a such thing
That's
as someone, everyone buys shoes they can't afford. But
mm-hmm.
why did they buy them? The value was there. No
Yep.
one goes, it's all about the value. Like, is it worth it for them? So stop thinking about, oh, is this cheap enough for them to afford it from their banking account? No, did you make something that is actually genuinely going to help them with all their problems? And once you figure that out, you can see that there's really no value on it. Like the value is whatever you say it is.
Absolutely. Yeah. People, what I've noticed is people will, once they, like you said, once they find value in something, it don't, you could charge $100 or $1,000. They'll pay for it.
Yeah.
If they feel like it's valuable for them, they'll find a way to pay
Yes.
for it. It's like you said, we
Yes.
all got stuff that we, bought that we really didn't need, but we just saw value in it.
Yes,
I
yes,
mean,
we
I've
saw
done that
value in it.
with clothes.
Yeah, everyone does it. Cars. I mean, who really needs a car that goes faster than what you go on the interstate? But we all
Yeah.
get, cars. Why do we need new the good tires? Why don't we just all go and buy used tires every time? It's the value. Why do we get rims that
Yep.
look a little bit cool? The value. I mean, it makes you feel good. It's maybe your
Mhm.
representation of you.
Yep.
So that value part is massive. It, it's a game changer. If you could tap and really understand that, then as a business owner, that goes a long way. Um, but
Absolutely.
uh, I would say that's a big hurdle of everyone. Everyone tries to go into discount, and I see a lot of coaches overcharge. I'm like, there's no value. You're kind of ripping people off. If you
Mhm.
haven't put yourself through not just the knowledge, but what are you able to do at the end result? So here's a little secret I do is I go through and everything I charge, I evaluate how much money I'm going to save that person down the road. Because ethically, I don't want to take, say, in a year, someone pays me $15,000. I want them saving more than that. So, how much do you value life? That person value life. How much doctor bills am I going to save them? How much am I going to save them on health detriments? How much am I going to save them on their confidence that's going to maybe give them an opportunity in a new job? So I'm evaluating all those things. Where are they in life? Are they job hunting?
Mhm.
Well, if I could get them, because it's proven, if you're more fit and more attractive, you're going to get a better paying job. If you look vibrant and you have the energy, you're going to get a better paying job. It's just the way it is. You got to think if you own a company, who are you going to hire? It's just the way it works. You're not going to hire the
Right.
person that is demotivated or their heads down, they look out of shape. You know, you're going to go for the person that is you're going to see that's going to give you more. So I look at all that, and then as they give me time to prove it to them, and then when they succeed, they keep you for life because they see that, hey, wow, even though I'm paying him, my investment return is huge because I'm with Warren or
Mhm.
Charles. Like I cannot afford not to have them. And when you start getting feedback, I care less about someone saying, I love Warren because I lost 5 inches on my stomach. Those are short term for me. I want someone to
Yeah.
go, I love Warren because now I have no pain. I don't have to go and see the doctor anymore. I'm off the 3 meds. I got a better job. My spouse loves me so much more because I'm doing more with them. Those are true value things. And it's hard to put a dollar sign on that, you know? Um, so
Absolutely.
that value factor is huge. I did an online thing. I spent $35,000 on developing all the digital stuff. All right. So I sell it nationally, but I give it free to my clients because it's not taking any more time for me, but it's increasing their success levels through the roof. Why would
Mhm.
I charge them on that? You know, I'm selling it separate for other people, but why not just give it to them? you know and if they're getting higher levels of success, it helps my business. See, so all these
Absolutely.
layer of things, sometimes you don't need to charge for everything. you know
Yeah.
I buy $8,000 worth of shirts for the gym. I give them all free. Yeah, I can make some money. It's not in my interest. I want to give back. I do bracelets, I do keychains. I don't charge. I just, man, if you're a member here or my client here, man, I thank you so much. So there's a certain point of giving too. But if you look at the list of everything I offer in a program,
Can you see me? Hear me? Hold on a second. Can you hear me? I have a little technical difficulty. Can you hear me now? The audio went out.
all right, I'm back.
No, you
Cut me
good.
out. I was like, what the heck?
That's all good.
All right, bud. But yeah, it's, you see why it takes so long? Like everyone just don't get in a hurry. Like, and when I say 6 months is like a beginner, 2 years is a beginner. Don't look at it like I've been
Mm-hmm.
doing this for so long, I expect so much, you got to always build. And imagine if you're
Yeah,
always, if every year you haven't built, then you're not going to move forward. I mean, it's just common sense stuff, you know. Now, my younger days, I'm 46. Man, I used to be able to stay up to 2 in the morning, get up at 4. And I used to have the mentality, man, I got to develop stuff uh, to get 5 years ahead in 1 year. And I encourage people to do that, like push it hard. Like I dabbled into learning how to develop a website, you know, um, learn those things. And there's a lot to learn that isn't directly fitness. It's just general
mm-hmm.
marketing, how to do Facebook ads, um, how to make video. Video's the future, man. Like like if
Absolutely.
if if you're not good at video, you're left behind. Like these younger people coming up are going to dominate you. Like they're going to destroy your business. You have to be good at it, and it has to be high quality, and it has to look professional. There's so many apps and technology out there now. Um, so an investment in a good um, uh, uh, camera, a good phones now are really good on the video, but good software. Um, you're doing awesome with the podcasts. So stuff like that. Getting into that, there's things that you learn that you don't really realize. Oh my God, that was a nugget that's going to be really important for this other business. You know, um, so in a way, I'm a minor expert in marketing. I'm a expert in sales. I'm an expert in training athletes. I'm an expert in injury prevention. I'm an expert in running a gym. I'm an expert in accounting. I'm a, I've had to learn all these things. Accounting is really important. Investing. How do I
Mm-hmm.
how much money should I put back into my business? Maybe I shouldn't buy a new car. Maybe I want that GMC SUV that's $80,000. So I'm going to wait 5 years, and I'm going to invest $80,000 over five years back into my business, whether it's going to mastermind, self development, Stop buying equipment. Invest in yourself. Like, do not put money in stocks. Do not put money in IRAs. Put it in yourself in the beginning. You're too young to invest in that stuff. You're not going to get anything out of it. Inflation will overpower that stuff in 40 years,
Mm-hmm.
but it will not overpower developing yourself. I have put way over 6 figures in developing myself, paying other coaches, paying uh, uh, like I got an expert in video because I hired and a guy that I met in a mastermind that his company is about producing videos. He's done videos for Wu-Tang Clan to Tim Ferriss to heck yeah, I want to be his friend. Like, like why wouldn't I? I mean, he's a cool dude. No, don't get me wrong. I'm not just
Yeah,
his
yeah,
friend
yeah.
because of that. But when I went to the mastermind, that's a huge network connection. And I wanted to learn from him. Awesome dude, man. I love him. He's one of my best friends. I do anything in the world for him. He lives up north. I would fly up there if he needed me to watch his dog. You know, um, but he's done more for me than he even knows, just by sharing knowledge. But the
Mm-hmm.
only way to do that is I had to spend a $5,000 to go to a weekend mastermind. Now, people would go, "Oh, I came back from mastermind, didn't get anything from it." I didn't see it that way. I was like, "Oh my God, I made 3 friends that are way more successful than me, and then they're in segments of an industry that I need for my industry." So
Yeah,
you can't look at
definitely.
things just in the front cost. Me and this coach that's going to be doing this athlete thing, we don't need a bunch of fancy equipment. That's not what we should be investing our money in. So it's same thing as a new trainer. They got to invest a certain amount of, I would say, majority. And I wish I would have done that earlier. I didn't. I didn't have anybody to teach me. I was like, heck yeah, I'm gonna get me a. I got me a jacked up truck and you know, spin it. Got shoes and man, I would be even further along now than I am if I would have done things right the first 5 to 10 years. Um, so look at developing yourself, not certifications, learning other things, meeting people. I mean, imagine if you met 10 people that own 8 to 12 figure businesses and you actually got to know them. How could you
Mm-hmm.
fail? Like, you would know every secret there is and you'd have people to call. You know, if you're having trouble, get suggestions. When I opened a gym, some of my mentors were like, "Don't do it. Don't do any nut and bolt business. Do only online." But I had this gut feeling. I was like, no, I think I could. I have some ideas about this. So, uh, how my business grew during COVID because I understood things. I didn't. A lot of people jumped the gun and went online. I was like, y'all are making big mistake. Y'all are burning
Mm-hmm.
some things. Y'all are ruining everything you already built. Um, and the nuts and bolts side of things. Don't pivot away from things. Adjust things, modify them, and keep on building off of that. So, uh, uh, yeah, man, I'll talk your ear off on that.
Man, I've talked to a couple different people in various businesses, restaurants and other stuff that business like grew during COVID. Because instead of looking at it as like a negative thing, they looked at it as like, how can I add another sort of revenue stream? Because
Improve
people are
it.
gonna need
Yeah,
they're gonna need the service regardless of what's going on. So instead of saying, "Oh, we
exactly.
can't do this," oh, okay, well, how can I do it this way? And I mean, people's
Yeah,
businesses have gotten way bigger, and they wouldn't have if it wasn't for COVID. Instead of looking at it as like, oh, woe is me, it was a not saying a blessing in that, but I mean it caused them to think differently.
yeah, yeah. And you figure things out. You're like, oh, damn, I was lacking here. like, because it forced you to kind of really evaluate your business. Like, wow,
Hmm.
that's a whole area that I didn't see because everything was going good. And
Yeah.
now I'm seeing my detriments, and I could actually improve service now, and that's what it forced me to do, is it forced me to dive into my where I was lacking and really bump up the level. So then when everything cleared out, it got a little bit better and things started opening, my business was the quality was a lot bigger. I was more systematic. I had more things lined out. I was more efficient.
Hmm.
All these things, I contributed to the uptick, of the business.
I'll tell you what, man. I've only been doing this podcast for a year, man. But this interview right here is probably this is my favorite. I mean,
Oh man, I
it's been
appreciate it,
great,
dude.
man. This
Awesome,
is
man. I appreciate
yeah.
you.
This is. I tell you what, man. When I plan on doing a lot more stuff in Conway this year because other business ventures. But whenever I'm down there, man, I gotta look you up, man. We can go out and
Yeah, man.
grab a steak or
Anytime,
something.
dude. Yeah, yeah. Anytime, brother. I'm just, I, I, I have very few friends, um, uh, but I always welcome more because I don't have enough. Sometimes when you get caught up in developing, just time gets away from you, and before I know it, a year is gone. I'm like, dang, man, I was so engulfed, with COVID and everything. It kind of, uh, it was harder. It was a lot more work. I made joke is whenever the shutdown did happen, I'm like, man, I'm working more hours than I did when everything was open. You know, I was like, this is crazy. Because online is tougher. Like
Oh
to
yeah,
have that
yeah.
quality. I'm big on quality, and I was like, there's no way to have the volume I have online to have that quality. So I had to put a lot more hours into it because people don't realize just to do the podcast, there's a lot of work behind the scenes, editing
Oh yeah, absolutely.
so it's not just like the time that you spend on it, it's the prep, it's the communication, it's the after posting it, and all that stuff. And then when you have clients, it's the same thing, prepping. It's in person, at least they're here and you could do things as they're going, but on video you have to have everything lined out. You have to be able to
Mhm.
communicate because there's that barrier. You're not in person, and that made me learn a lot more on that as well.
So one more question before I let you go. Not business related. Like what does Warren Martin like to do in his free time? Just putting business aside. Like what does he like to
Yeah,
do? Just on a just to let loose a
honestly,
little bit.
that's one big reason why I am developing this franchise, because one thing that's very important to me, and I guess this happens as you get older, is time is more valuable to me than money. Like, money doesn't mean as much to me as being financially stable to have time with family and friends and to be creative. Because if you're busy, you cannot be creative.
Yeah.
So it, it kills me when I can't be creative. And that's why I'm loving this new thing is I got out of the creativeness and was so consumed with so much training, so much business running that I feel stuck. So what I really enjoy the most is spending time with people I care about and seeing them enjoy things, and then being able to be creative, like of thinking of new businesses or new programs, or just to be able to think. Like it sounds so remedial, but to just be able to sit there and just brainstorm on things, discuss things, and that's one thing the world has gotten to is no one really discusses, everyone argues, and I miss the days, and that's why I don't have tons of friends. My friends tend to be the ones that we like to debate against each other, and still
Mm-hmm.
hug and high five, and maybe not agree, even whether it's fitness, family, how, politics, whatever it is. I love
Mm-hmm.
having discussion because I know I don't know everything. And
Yeah,
I
yeah,
believe I'm maybe out of all knowing at 5%. you know, I love hearing people's perspectives. I love it. Even though I just at the beginning, maybe onset um, is totally against what I believe, but I like hearing it. I love hearing their reasoning and their back because sometimes it changes my mind, you know. Um, but I guess that's where I'm at. It's not the physical stuff, not the shoes and the clothes, and I don't chase money. I don't, not at all. I chase the success. I chase
mm-hmm.
what impact does it have? You know, I mean, it is a good feeling to come in a gym and feel like everyone in here is family. And I've done a couple posts on this. This is my garage gym. The garage was lonely. I work out by myself. Now I got a garage gym where I come in and all my friends are here, from morning to night. And I know I get to interact with 200 people a week. It's freaking awesome. You know, that's what I like. I don't feel like I work here. It's people like, how do you work the hours? I don't work. I come and spend time with my friends, So,
That's awesome.
um, but traveling is a big thing. I think we kind of get so cooped up in work where going places, we live once, man, and I've gone
Yeah.
through the last few months a lot of hardships, with health, with family. Um, my wife had a stroke, and
Oh man, I'm
and
sorry to
it's
hear that.
like, oh, it's good. And we're home now. We're recovering, but it's a wake up call. Like, don't get so consumed with chasing money because that's not what's going to make you happy. It's just not. I wish I could say money makes you happy. It doesn't. I remember the day was like, man, I'd be happy to make 50,000 a year. Oh, that's it. That's all I would want. And that comes, and you're like, oh, no, 80's it. I promise at that point, Lord, if you're listening, if you make me get to 80, I'm good. I'm good. I'm going to be so happy. 80 comes. Man, I need to make more to help more people. That's what another thing that I hate people that are successful in business. No, you got to make a certain amount to help more people, to grow. So it's you can't chase the money. You got to, if you're helping more people, you'll make more money. If you're genuine, you'll make
Yeah.
more people. If you pull people with you, you're going to make more money. And when you make more money, you could pull even more people with you, and you could help even more people. And then if you make more money, you could maybe get more free time, and then you could develop more things, and you can innovate things. And you're like, okay, how can I help someone that does what I do instead of helping a client? You can help another colleague. You can, it just manifests. And this is the cycle, I think. And that's what I respect of all my mentors. It became they were helping clients, it became they're helping colleagues, it became they're developing systems to help. It became, they just keep evolving that way. None of them talk about money. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's that's the common thing I would say is none of them go, oh, I was trying to make 100,000. Oh, I was trying to make 1 million. They're like, how can I help more people? Where's the pain at? Where's the struggle at? You know, and you and other entrepreneurs, it's a not everyone is an entrepreneur. You know, sometimes you got to kind of look at it and go, maybe my calling isn't to be an entrepreneur. You know, um, not many people are willing to set up podcasts. and go through it at the beginning. At the beginning, I remember starting mine, and dude, it was like no one looked at it. I'm like,
Yeah.
why am I doing this? But I was like, you know what? Me wanting views is an ego thing. What happens if 10 people watch it and it changed 5 of their lives? Good enough for me.
Yep.
Good enough. Maybe I'll change a couple more people's through all that work through podcasts. And that's what, but you keep on
Absolutely.
doing it and it grows. And it grows and it grows and it grows and it grows. You do a podcast for 10 years, I promise it's going to be huge. It doesn't go less. That's the thing. You just keep on driving forward and it grows. And then, it brings you more business, or it makes that impact, and then, or it
Mm-hmm.
might make you connect with someone that has impact in your life later, so, all those things, I have to say that was the biggest thing with my podcast is uh, it helped people connect to others that they wouldn't before, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's not always about money. That's another nugget is don't chase money. Chase helping people.
Absolutely. I'll tell you what, man, enjoyed this so much. I could talk to you for 5 more hours, but I'll I'll let you go, man. And really enjoyed you coming on. I appreciate it, and look forward, man, to connecting and getting together sometime this year.
Yeah, man, you got my contact info. Man, dude, I'm gonna be mad at you if you don't get a hold of me this year, though. So make sure
Hey,
the next time you're in
I
town, man, holler at me, and we'll grab some lunch or
I got
something
you.
and chat. All right, brother.
Yes, sir. Let's do it. All right, man. You enjoy your Friday and your weekend, man.
All right, man. Catch you later.
All right.
Bye.
That was Warren Martin, Sync Fitness and Movement. Great interview. I'll post all his links below so you can connect with him. All right, this was Bill Wellness Experience, Season 2, Episode 1. Catch you later.